Live from Studio A, WTLK, The Thunder.
Word on the internet street is that a Superman and Lois TV show will be happening, or at least in the plans to be happening for the CW, sometime in the nearish future, but I guess we won't really hear anything concrete about it until after Crisis on Infinite Earths, where we see where all the other CW characters and shows get rearranged and all that. But this one would have Tyler Hoechlin as Superman and Bitsy Tolik as Lois Lane. And more concrete news, some sad news for Game of Thrones fans, the remaining ones out there. The prequel series starring Naomi Watts has been canceled. Production just shut down like midway. It's done. And also David Benioff and D.B. Weiss have left the new Star Wars trilogy project. Now for a little review, because Halloween is over now. For most of us, it's over. For those of us going to Netherworld on Saturday, I guess it kind of ends then. Nope, Halloween ends never. But anyways, so the last horror movie releasing in the theaters this season is Countdown, which is about an app that you download and it lets you know when you're going to die. And the whole thing is if you try to change your fate or whatever, then there's this whole demon or monster thing that comes after you. And of course I watched it, and I mean, it was okay. It's like a less believable Final Destination, but I guess it would be pretty good for younger tier millennials / Gen Zers that missed out on the whole Final Destination thing. I did like it because it had Jordan Calloway, who plays Khalil Payne, aka Painkiller on Black Lightning, and Elizabeth Lail, who played Anna on Once Upon a Time back when they had that Frozen season. She is also a UNC alumni, so definitely very high up on her. And also Peter Facinelli. So it was a pretty good cast here. But, I mean, other than that, like I said, it's really more for younger millennials and Gen Zers. But another movie that I did catch during the week on Shudder, the horror streaming service powered by AMC, it's called Haunt, which is a movie about a group of youngins, early 20s people that hit up an extreme haunted house after a Halloween party, and of course it turns out said extreme haunted house, and by extreme haunted house I mean shit that they actually make you do some shit to just really try to freak you out. I mean, come on people, we don't need to go that far. Just go to Netherworld. It's a regular haunted house, but it's just incredible. But yeah, they go to this extreme haunted house. Turns out it's run by killers and stuff, which, I mean, kind of sounds basically like the premise of The House is October Built, but it's kind of different, and it's also not found footage like House is October Built was, because I'm pretty sure that movie was done in the whole first person thing. It's been a couple of years since I've seen it, but I'm pretty sure House is October Built was found footage. But no, Haunt's just a regular horror movie style, sort of slasher themed, but not like crap. What was that one movie that came out last year where the killer was in the Scream part? That kind of looked like Scarowinds, but like a smaller scale and probably easier lines. I can't remember. But yeah, it's basically like that movie plus House is October Built combined, and it's Haunt. But yeah, Haunt, really good. And also there's a rendition of Rob Zombie's Dracula in the end credits that you might enjoy. So on to the wrestlings. We start out with the Kabuki Warriors coming out with Paige, who hasn't been seen for a while because she had neck surgery again, and she was getting herself reacclimated with them as their manager and all that. And while she was talking, Asuka and Kairi Sane kept snatching the microphone out of her hand and then Asuka spit the green mist in Paige's face. So Paige is no longer their manager for sure now. And then Becky came to her rescue. Would have been nice to see Becky and Charlotte do like a reunion of Team PCB going against the Kabuki Warriors. So then Becky had her match with Kairi Sane and got the win. Then Buddy Murphy had a match with R-Truth, and that's when the Singh brothers came in with their 24/7 championships and kept running it around. And then R-Truth was exhausted, so Buddy Murphy hit him with a knee and got the win, and then Truth went after the 24/7 championship. Then Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre ended in a disqualification after Randy Orton RKO'd Ricochet. Randy Orton is the team captain of Team Flair, which is also where Drew McIntyre's on for Crown Jewel. Viking Raiders defeated Rizzo and Bryant, jobbers who were dressed like the Chicago Cubs for some reason. This took place in St. Louis, so the Cardinals and the Cubs rivals? I can't remember. Wait, who did the Cubs beat in the World Series? I don't remember. Also, Andrade defeated Sin Cara again. Sin Cara brought Carolina, or Catalina, I heard both, who got to slam Selena Vega in a barrier mid-Hurricane Rana. And Sin Cara was just looking like, oh yeah, this is cool, I'm just going to watch this. And then Andrade hit him and got the pin. And then Natalya and Charlotte, which is the most random tag team I've seen since Ziggler Rude, defeated the Iconics, who hadn't been seen on TV in a while. I don't really think since they got beat for the tag team titles. Then Seth Rollins defeated Eric Rowan in a Falls Count Anywhere by pinning Rowan with a forklift that had a pallet loaded on it. And he pretty much bullied the forklift driver to lay said pallet fork thingy onto Rowan. So Simon Miller brought up a good point. It's like, does that mean the forklift driver qualifies for a universal title opportunity? Of course not, but you know what we're getting at. And then AJ Styles defeated Humberto Carrillo, so that's now 0 for 2 and 2 champions. Humberto's taken on since he's come on Raw, but he ended up looking really good. P.S. also foreshadowing Crown Jewel. And then the Street Profits came to Humberto's aid when the OC ganged up on him. Finally, why did this have to be the main event? Rusev and Lana were on the King's Court, aka Divorce Court. Maybe Divorce Court, probably, I don't know. Then Lana accused him of being a sex addict, and then Lana changed that and accused him of just wanting to put a baby in her regardless of where she was at in her career. And then she said that she changed that around and said Rusev cheated on her because Bobby Lashley said he cheated on her. And then Lashley and Rusev brawled. Lana hit Rusev with the kendo stick, which he just shrugged off, and then Lashley low blowed him right in the nuts. Okay, let's move on. NXT. Io Shirai defeated Candice LeRae. Finn Balor is back being his own thing. He just really talked or anything. He doesn't really have a match set up. Just him talking, pretty much back as Prince Devitt. Not officially as Prince Devitt, but people who know Bullet Club history or have heard of Bullet Club know what's going on here. Then Bronson Reed defeated Shane Thorne. Sadly, the Kabuki Warriors defeated Team Kick in a women's tag team match, or women's tag team title match. Team Kick being Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai. And then afterwards, there was a whole big old brawl featuring the top women of NXT, like Shayna Baszler and Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, and Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai and Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae. And of course, General Manager William Regal got all that under control and announced that they'll settle this next takeover the night before Survivor Series, and the first ever women's War Games. War Games. And then Cameron Grimes defeated Tyler Bate after Killian Dane distracted Bate, and Killian Dane said he was sending a message to Pete Dunne with that. And then Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly defeated Matt Riddle and Keith Lee for the NXT Tag Team Championship. And then the Undisputed Era ganged up on them, to which afterwards then Tommaso Ciampa and his crutch of destruction came out. No Gargano, no Balor this time. Just Ciampa and his crutch in the clutch. At the same time on AEW Dynamite, Hangman Page defeated Sammy Guevara. Hikaru Shida defeated Shanna. Santana and Ortiz blindsided the very old school tag team, very famous very old school tag team, Rock and Roll Express. Then they got chased off by the Young Bucks. The Best Friends and Orange Cassidy dressed as Rick and Morty, like the Best Friends were two Ricks and Orange Cassidy was Morty. And they defeated Alex Reynolds, John Silver, and QT Marshall, which sounds really familiar. I feel like we've seen John Silver, I think QT Marshall on WWE, so interesting. And Chris Jericho and Cody signed a contract, and then Jericho showed Cody video of going on outside of the Inner Circle attacking Dustin Rhodes at his limo. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks defeated the Hybrid 2 and Kip Sabian, and Kenny Omega was dressed as Sans from the amazing Undertale. I've never played it, but everything I've seen about that game just looks fucking incredible. And the Young Bucks, they dressed up as Ryu and Ken. Yes, that Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. And then after they defeated Hybrid 2 and Kip Sabian, the Young Bucks went to go hang out with a couple of fans in the crowd with Rick and Morty masks. I don't know what the hell this whole partnership is with Rick and Morty and AEW, but neat. And then it turns out those two people with the Rick and Morty masks were Santana and Ortiz, and then they just started brawling with the Young Bucks. And then in the main event, SCU defeated the Lucha Brothers to become AEW Tag Team Champions. So Halloween, Crown Jewel. In the kickoff, Humberto Carrillo won the Battle Royal to determine the U.S. Championship contender, which he was up against some insurmountable odds because at the end it was down to him and Harper and Rowan, which if you've seen them, big old behemoths. And yeah, pretty much he got the win because Harper almost had him over there, and then Rowan reacted way too quickly. Instead of making sure Carrillo was actually down, he went ahead and eliminated Harper, and then Carrillo just ducked back under the bottom rope and lifted up Rowan and put him out of the ring, and so that's how he won the Battle Royal against two big-ass giants. And then starting off the show, Brock Lesnar defeated Cain Velasquez by submission in like 5 minutes to retain the WWE title. And then Rey Mysterio whacked him with chairs because he still had some revenge to dish out for Dominic. And the tag team turmoil, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode defeated the Lucha House Party. Then they defeated Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. And then Heavy Machinery defeated Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. And then the New Day defeated Heavy Machinery. Then the New Day defeated the B-Team. And then the New Day beat the Revival. And then the Revival beat up the New Day after they were eliminated because they were mad, and also because the next day they were scheduled to face the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. So while Kofi and Big E were still down, the New Day, or the OC, came in and defeated them, and then the OC somehow defeated the Viking Raiders. Oh? So I guess that means they're also kind of technically number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team titles. But yeah, so the OC Gallows and Anderson wins the Tag Team World Cup. They are officially the best tag team in the world. Well, at least Shane McMahon didn't have to step in for anybody. And then Mansoor, who is the WWE NXT superstar from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, who won the largest battle royal back in Super Showdown in June, defeated Cesaro, so he's pretty much the most beloved man in Saudi Arabia at this point. Tyson Fury defeated Braun Strowman, and it was actually a really good match, if you can believe it. There was one point where Tyson Fury did that whole Undertaker rise like he did when he fought Deontay Wilder. And also at one point, Tyson Fury did the Roman Reigns drive-by, which is, him running up and jumping on the apron with both feet out to kick the person in the face. And so, yeah. And then when Braun was about to climb back into the ring, Fury ran up to him, hit him with a right hook, and then Braun lost by countout. Braun was pissed and fucking slammed Tyson Fury and then left, and everybody walked out looking good. And then AJ Styles defeated Humberto Carrillo to retain the U.S. Championship. No surprise there. And then next up, the first ever women's match in Saudi Arabia. Natalya defeating Lacey Evans. They both came out in like black leggings and a shirt with their individual logos on it. Lacey Evans had her Lacey Evans, and Natalya had the Hart family. I believe it's the Hart Foundation logo. And so, yeah, they had a good match. They were pretty much out of character the whole time, and just two women wrestling, being who they actually are, no characters or anything. Because Natalya and Lacey Evans look like actual best friends instead of having a very heated rivalry over the last month and a half. And then Team Hogan defeated Team Flair. And of course, they had Roman kicking out of an RKO, Roman spearing Randy Orton. You had Rusev facing off against Bobby Lashley. You had King Corbin, or as Simon Miller calls him, Taldy Baldy, facing off with Shorty G, Chad Gable. It was a whole lot of excellent moments. This could have gone wrong. It didn't. It was awesome. And speaking of awesome, your main event, Seth Rollins versus The Fiend. And see, this show is not technically run by WWE yet, so I'm calling him The Fiend and not The Fiend of Bray Wyatt, because The Fiend was out here, not Bray Wyatt. And yeah, it was so much better. I was a little concerned because it looked like The Fiend was selling those hits more than he really should, but then they made it all the way back up to the ramp near the entrance, and Seth curb stomped him like freaking 12 times, 10 times, 12 times, something like that. And then super kicked him into a pit of electrical equipment, and you saw sparks and fire and all that stuff. And some nearby crew had to sort of hit the area with fire extinguishers, and you think that'll be it. Seth Rollins will win, or this will be another non-finish, and everybody just loses faith in The Fiend. Seth went up to the little pit, got kind of hit in the eye with some sparks, and he was like, "Oh, it hurts." And then, like fucking Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees themselves, he just rose out of that equipment, mandible clawed Seth, hit him with the Sister Abigail, got the 1, 2, 3, and now The Fiend is your Universal Champion of the world. Holy crap. Cannot believe it. Cannot believe it. And you wouldn't believe the smackdown that came the night after, because a shitload of WWE superstars got stranded in Saudi Arabia still, so they had to throw out some surprises. Starting off, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman came out and said that Vince won't let them get retribution on Rey Mysterio because Rey's a Raw superstar and Brock is a SmackDown superstar, and they're trying to keep this brand exclusivity like consistent. And so they were just like, fuck it, we're gonna quit Friday Night SmackDown and go to Raw and go kick Rey Mysterio's ass. And then backstage, as Brock and Paul were walking away, Triple H and Shawn Michaels were in the building and looking pretty sneaky, like the D-Generation X of old. But nobody knows what they were up to. But that Shawn Michaels, he was decked out in some NXT gear. Next up was Bayley defeating Nikki Cross to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship, and she had Sasha Banks in her corner. And then once that match was over, who else came out but the NXT Women's Champion, Shayna Baszler. Beat the shit out of Sasha, beat the shit out of Bayley, knocked Nikki around a little bit, and what the fuck. And then Sami Zayn was being interviewed by NXT's Kathy Kelly. Oh my god. And he was just like, yeah, these NXT people better not come around here or I'm going to fight them, knock them out, do harm to them. And then he was confronted by freaking Matt Riddle and Keith Lee. And he was just like, oh yeah, I'm down with NXT. NXT's been my thing. I was kind of like the dude in NXT back then. Yeah. And then Sammy tried to get away from them, trying to find his quote unquote NXT shirt in the car. And then somehow he led them to the ring, and then they beat the holy crap out of him. Keith Lee hit him with some impressive moonsaults. Matt Riddle hit him with the bro Derek. And yeah, Matt Riddle and Keith Lee looking pretty victorious. Oh, by the way, meant to throw in this little anecdote back in the NXT segment, but I'm really liking these Keith Lee and Matt Riddle sort of team ups from this week, because I remember back in January in the NXT house show that took place in Spartanburg, South Carolina, just like roughly half an hour north of where I reside. And at that house show, there was a 6-man tag match, and Matt Riddle and Keith Lee were on the team together with EC3 before he got called up for whatever reason in retrospect. And so yeah. And they decided to call their team E-Bro Lee, because Matt Riddle's gimmick is the whole bro thing. And EC3, Keith Lee, E-Bro Lee. Yeah, you get it. So to actually see at least 2/3 of this team on TV after all those months, it's pretty awesome. Next up was Miz TV, which Miz was supposed to be interviewing Bray Wyatt. Actual Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt's still in Saudi Arabia, so Miz got interrupted by Tommaso Ciampa, and they had a nice little back and forth promo battle, and then it had a nice back and forth actual wrestling match battle, and Tommaso defeated Miz. Next up, there was supposed to be I believe a 6-woman tag match between Fire and Desire, and I can't remember who else, but I don't know. It was supposed to be Bayley? I don't know. But it was supposed to be them against Carmella and Dana Brooke and Nikki Cross. And then while Fire and Desire were at ringside waiting for them, the video showed Bianca Belair beating up Carmella and Dana Brooke. And people were all sorts of confused. And then what came out, starting off with the music of "This is my brutality," came out Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox. That's a fucking team. And also very solid too, because it it was Tegan Knox's match with Rhea Ripley in last year's Mae Young Classic, which Tegan got that devastating knee injury, so that was nice to see them team up, and they defeated Fire and Desire. I'm just thinking how, I mean, they probably won't break up Team Kick anytime soon, but Rhea Ripley and Tegan Knox versus the Kabuki Warriors or the women's tag team champions somewhere down there would be pretty neat. But yeah, so there was that, and then Daniel Bryan went to Triple H and Shawn Michaels trying to find out what the fuck was going on with all these NXT people attacking, and so Daniel Bryan challenged Triple H to a fight because that usually works out so well for Triple H. See the WrestleMania where Bryan beat him, Randy Orton, and Batista to become WWE and World Heavyweight Champion. Woo-woo. So he challenged Triple H to the fight, and he was just like, I know somebody who wants to. And Shawn Michaels was unzipping his jacket, and then he was just like, oh, it's too cold, I'm putting this back on. To which everyone was like, oh, yeah, Shawn Michaels was going to come out of retirement for this. And then Triple H summoned his champion, Adam Cole. So, holy shit, we got Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole, which is probably something nobody thought we'd see for at least a couple of years. But here we go. And Daniel Bryan had Adam Cole in submission holds out the ass the whole time, but eventually Adam Cole was able to break free and overcome without any undisputed hijinks, which it looked like there might be that because Roderick Strong was actually there walking Adam Cole out to the arena, but left before Adam Cole went down to the ramp. And so yeah, Adam Cole beat Daniel Bryan, and then the rest of the NXT roster and Triple H came out to join them, and they were just like, this is war. And it was, so now we're kicking off the 3-brand war of Survivor Series. Wow. Which means if the champions remain as they do currently, and these are all going to be triple threats, that means we're going to see, if we're doing a tag team triple threat, that would be Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish versus the Revival versus the Viking Raiders. Holy shit. Though I do hope those SmackDown tag team titles change hands, because I want to see Kofi in this, since we're not going to in the Champions match. What else? There's going to be Becky Bayley and Shayna Baszler. Holy shit. Where else? And there's the secondary titles, which would be AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Roderick Strong. Damn. And then the Champions match, which y'all just pray for Adam Cole, because if he's got to go up against Brock Lesnar and The Fiend at the same time, he will literally die. So, yeah, I know Undisputed Era has put on their share of hijinks, but nobody deserves that. So, yeah, the stage is set and the pieces are moving for our road to Survivor Series. Hopefully tonight, everybody's back stateside and going to be on their brands. And, yeah, we're looking forward to SmackDown on Friday, especially considering Roman Reigns tweeted out, their congratulations to NXT for a successful invasion. But when he gets back to his yard, gonna be hell to pay. So yeah, this has been WTLK The Thunder. Drink, fight, and make your ancestors proud.